is this thing. Some of you went to Macaulay Sports Camp, and it shows. I will say it's a lot harder to do the 10:30 service, the early service. There's about 10 people, and 8 of them are asleep. So it's a little bit more of a, I got to be on my game this time. As Brad said, I'm excited to be here, and I just started my second year actually teaching. It's funny the little things that I'm reminded of. I'm not too far removed from my high school days in Macaulay, but teenage boys, they kind of focus on different things and things that I forgot they focused on. They also generally have a disdain or wariness about authority. I don't personally see myself as much of an authority figure. They start to view me that way. It's funny if I'm walking through the halls of the dorm or in class and I call a student over, I just say his name, hey, can we talk for a second? They start shaking, they come up, and am I in trouble? Did I do something wrong? No, I just wanted to ask you something. This kind of feeling puzzled me the last year. I forgot what it was like until Brad texted me, said he wanted to talk to me. Asked me if I would do this. Did I do something wrong? Am I in trouble? I've been to church enough. But I like to view St. Paul's as a friend, and the church itself, the entity, more as a relationship, as a being. St. Paul's for me and my family was actually a long-term friend, a family friend that goes back generations. When St. Paul's first found himself in Chattanooga, but right before, in the late 1800s, my great-great-grandfather was there to meet him, to make his acquaintance. My great-grandmother became very good friends, teaching with him, and later he would attend her funeral in this church. My parents got to know him pretty well. They were actually married right here, back when a majestic red carpet painted the floors. And I got to know him, officially meeting him, this long-term family friend, when I was just a few months old, baptized right here, the same baptismal font that's still back there. For the first time, and though certainly not the last, St. Paul's was there for me, provided for me, offered me a relationship. As an infant, you kind of form these attachments to faces, to people around you that you see daily. Mom and Dad were kind of the only real consistent ones, and now all of a sudden I had a new friend. This friendship continued to grow, albeit at times begrudgingly on my end. We became good friends. We liked to play together on Sunday mornings, Children's Chapel. Liked to color in the bulletins that they used to have for kids, which I think we should bring back. The crayons back there. I liked this new friend, this church, though I wasn't a fan necessarily of when he wanted to hang out. It was a little early for me. He always insisted that we looked fancy, got dressed up. It wasn't as comfortable as I would have liked, but the friendship was worth it. This relationship grew. Into middle school, it became more serious, more substantial. We actually took a class together, St. Paul and I, like a real class, learned about his past and what he stood for, what he believed. Then later I got to come up here and make a promise to him that I was going to be there with him kind of the whole way through. This was something I was serious about. He confirmed that promise, returned the favor again, saying that he would stick with me. Like all relationships, all friendships, it got complicated. I wouldn't say we necessarily drifted apart, but in middle school, high school, I got busy. Other things caught my attention. My friends still invited me to hang out. We had this fun little thing we did where we would dress up in robes and parade around with candles, and gave me a reason to be here, but it was less about the actual being here and more the job. It was to make him happy. It wasn't really a personal thing for me anymore. And then I left. I thanked my friend for some good years, some memories, wished him well, no ill will towards him, but I went to find better. I physically left, went to Nashville to college, but I spiritually left as well. I came back to town at the end of the semester, visiting family for the holidays. I came back older. I'd aged more than the elapsed 6 months would suggest. I found myself back here in these pews, head down, a little sheepish, somewhat embarrassed to be reunited with my friend after not keeping up with him. But he just smiled and put his arms around me and talked like we'd never left. After that, we stayed in touch a little bit better. I tried to visit more often. I found myself longing to be reunited with him. I guess I just missed my friend. Now that I'm back in Chattanooga, I've been able to more fully rekindle our friendship, and it's been nice. Of course, there's this whole pandemic thing, and we got through that all right. I would have liked to be with him in person, but he knew someone who got COVID really early on, and so he wanted to take it really seriously, which I get, and I'm totally for. But since then, we hung out online, and we've gotten to come back now stronger and closer and more invested in each other. I'm excited for how close we have come and how close we will become moving forward. I think this will be a very long-term and fruitful friendship. Now, I'm not St. Paul's only friend, or even his first friend. He's somewhat of a social butterfly. He tends to always be meeting new people and having lots of relationships. But he's asked me something cool now. He's asked me to help him. That's why I'm here today, why I like to invite some of the students to come with me at times, why I never say no to hanging out, why I always let him borrow money when he asks. See, I love St. Paul. I love helping him get to know others, helping him to save others, just as he saved me. Now, if none of you are in my class, but my students will tell you it is impossible for me to get through a lecture without referencing a movie. Big movie guy. And they're very correct, and so here's the dutiful movie reference for the talk. This is nicer too, because hopefully more of you will get it. The 8 o'clock crowd, I think there was one young lad who actually knew this movie. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's a movie called Thor Ragnarok. It's the third movie of the series. It follows the titular hero and his quest to save his home world of Asgard from being destroyed. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok is this apocalyptic event, some would say inevitably so. And Thor is trying to stave off the inevitable, and he's unable to do so. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen it. He's not able to do so. And as he looks on the ruined kingdom, his ruined world, he was able to safely save the people. He was able to evacuate them out of Asgard before it was destroyed. And he realizes that Asgard was not a place, but a people. So I'd like to introduce you to my friend, St. Paul's. If you look around to your left and right, thank you for actually looking around, nobody else did. You'll see his many faces, his diverse outfits, his beaming smiles. I'm imagining their beaming smiles. I can't actually see them because of the mask, but they're probably there. This friend, y'all, have raised me, comforted me, brought me into salvation, forgiven me. You are the collection of all who love Christ and seek to serve his will. St. Paul's is y'all. And as I look into his face now, I can't help but be incredibly grateful. And so as you consider giving for next year, I hope that you will recognize the power of just your presence, the power of the Holy Spirit, and the work that he does through this parish. There are many more people that need a friend like St. Paul's. I hope you will be that friend. Thank you.